In the words of the late Rabbi Alan Liu, this is real, and you are completely unprepared. Unprepared for what? For this moment? For the way the next prayer or song will make you feel? For the new year 5780 that is now upon us? For the questions that keep coming our way? For what life may hold in store for us the moment we step outside these sanctuary walls? Ayekah. Before we can even begin to prepare, we must ask ourselves, where am I now? This one word, Ayekah, is the first, the shortest, and likely the most important question, or one of them, that God asks of humanity in the Torah. Ayekah, where are you? Walking around this beautiful Jerusalem-like campus, thinking about our exciting rabbinic search and transition here at Beth Israel, struggling with how rapidly the world is wildly changing, agonizing with and about so many in our community who are severely ill, walking in the beautiful biblical garden we have created here, I can almost imagine God's voice asking this question of Adam, the first human. Ayekah, where are you, Adam? It's an odd question for God to ask. Does God not know where Adam and Eve are hiding after they've eaten the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge? I'm thinking God knew. God can see them hiding. And so the question is not literally, where are you, but rather, where are you emotionally? Where are you spiritually? Now that you've eaten the fruit, how has that changed you? And perhaps God is also asking, why did you disobey and eat from the tree of knowledge? That is another sermon. And perhaps the question not asked, but also implied is, who are you? Where are we? Ayekah is a question we must all ask ourselves. Where am I now and where do I want to be? Just as importantly, who am I now and who do I want to become? Rabbi Hillel teaches us, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? In our service this evening, we are at so many different stages and ages and places in our lives. Perhaps some of us, or some of you, just became bar mitzvah, or soon will become bat mitzvah. Others of you are in 10th grade studying for confirmation. Others may be considering what happens after high school, college, military service, aliyah to Israel, or a gap year. How and when will you decide? What happens if your first choices are denied to you? Where do you want to be, and where do your parents want you to be? Do you still want to become a surgeon, a mathematician, a pilot? Do you want to be an artist or an actor? Or do you want to build your own company? And most importantly, how will you decide? So where do we go from here? Some of us who are in midlife transitions are looking back and asking ourselves, where have I been? Where am I now? And can I, or should I, or do I want to change as I look towards the future? Thinking about your hopes and dreams of 5, 10, or 20 years ago, can you say you've been true to yourself? Or perhaps as a result of life experiences, your priorities have changed. Perhaps it is you who have changed as a result of eating the fruit. What do you want from your remaining years, and how will you get there? These questions hopefully are nagging at you professionally, personally, and relationally, and will push you to ask, am I growing Jewishly? And am I growing as a human being? Truth be told, it can feel overwhelming sometimes to make these decisions. Can I afford to change careers, or can I afford to stay stagnant in my job? What about my relationships? Are my family members and my friends my priority? And who will benefit or be hurt by my decisions? Have I made changes in my life thoughtfully, or am I impulsive, or perhaps racked with uncertainty over the possibilities of a failure or a success? Unknown now, but just waiting over the horizon. Like Adam, we are being asked, Ayekah, where are you? Do we have answers for ourselves, our loved ones, or for God? Personally, I made significant changes in my life, from a shy, uncertain little girl to professional bassoonist to cantor and rabbi, from an Orthodox child to a Reform adult. For me, the struggle to change was enormous and caused much upheaval in my life and in the lives of my parents. My parents saw me as a teacher. I saw myself as a musician, as a bassoonist, and then a singer. I was what I did. In retrospect, the changes I have made have proven very fulfilling. And we all know that as human beings, we are so much more than what we do. So where am I now? Being acting, Freud would be happy, being acting senior rabbi of a large congregation was not ever a place I envisioned I would be. My cantorate and rabbinate have been built one relationship at a time. By listening more than preaching, by working in the quieter and more private corners of people's lives. Yet here I am, out in front to a larger extent than I ever aspired to be. Being asked to make important decisions, I always imagined someone else would have the responsibility to make. The responsibility and the opportunity are humbling. And while these are not places I might have imagined myself navigating to, it is where I am. And when I ask myself, how will I navigate from here, instead of questioning how I got here, the answer becomes clear. I will turn inward to all that I love about Judaism and about Jewish people, and outward to you, the congregational community that has brought me such inspiration, strength, joy, and fulfillment for the last 22 years. Together, let us seek a wonderful year of recommitting to one another, to Judaism and to God, however we understand God. Let us come together to make the world a better place. Let us work to make ourselves better Jews and better souls. And let us hope to say next year, when we are asked Ayekah, that we are an even better place than we are today, with stronger relationships to one another, to our loved ones, to our Jewish community, and to those in the world who need our love, our acceptance, and our help. In the first book of Kings, there is a well-known passage in which God asks the prophet Elijah, "What are you doing here?" In other words, where are you and why are you here? Elijah proclaims himself a zealot for God, where he says the rest of the Israelites have failed and forsaken God's covenant. In order to help Elijah, God says to him, "Go forth, stand on the mountain, and behold." A great and strong wind ripped through the mountains and broke in pieces the rocks. But God was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake. But God was not in the earthquake. And after the fire, God was not in the fire. And after that fire, a still small voice. And it was so when Elijah heard it that he wrapped his face in his mantle, stood at the entrance of the cave. And behold, there came a voice to him and said, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" With each important decision we have to make, with each encounter, with each change, we must confront in order to grow and not to stagnate. With each priority, we must set to be true to ourselves and our values. To whose voice do we listen? After we have collected all the valuable data and all the data available, after everyone has given their loving opinion and tried to help us choose, it's still that small voice that we need to listen to. And that still small voice is God's voice today in the world, centering us and asking us, Ayekah, where are you and who are you? Our responsibility is to keep ourselves open to hearing that still small voice and answering as we did this evening, Hineni, here I am, completely present and ready to turn a new chapter in my life, spiritually, physically, emotionally, as my ancestors, Moses, Abraham, and others who all responded to that still small voice said, I am here and I will go. Over the next 10 days, we have the opportunity to take time to assess our growth, our relationships, and our personal yearnings. Take the time to search your souls, ask your questions, and be as honest as possible with yourselves. It is at this point when we call ourselves, can we still answer this still small voice asking us that crucial question? That we will know, yes, this is indeed real, but we are no longer completely unprepared. We are as prepared as we can be, ready to respond to life with all its questions, demands, and uncertainties, not with complete knowledge or certainty, but with courage and with our faith. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will and ours.